In lesson 12.4, we're going to talk about histograms. Histograms are basically a interval table turned into a graph. Here it says a histogram is a bar graph that shows the frequency of data in intervals, and unlike a bar graph, there are no gaps between the bars in the histogram. This is important. There are no gaps here. The bars touch each other because there is no gap in the intervals. You go from 29 to 30, 39 to 40. There is no space in between. So you shouldn't have a space in your bars for a histogram. So basically a histogram is like a frequency table which is turned into a bar graph. And your intervals are down here, your frequency is on the side here, and you get to see in these intervals how many times something occurs using it's a different way visually to look at the data. So if we look at the question, it says the histogram shows the ages of winners of the Academy Award for Best Actor from 1990 to 2009. How many winners were under 40 years old? So if we look at that, 40 years old, it says under 40. Under 40. That's key because here's where it's 40 to 49. So all these people are over 40. So we want to look at these two bars down here. Now here it says how many winners were 20 to 29 years old? Well, there was one. So there's only one. And then what other bar represents people under 30? Well, obviously 20 to 29, and then we have 30 to 39. So this would be 30 to 39. And how many of those? There were 6. See the 6 right there. So you have to think, well, people under 40 would be all of these people here. So there's 6 plus 1. And that would be 7. So there were a total of 7 winners that were under 40 years old. We move on to the example. Okay. The question says, the table shows the ages of winners of the Academy Awards for Best Actress from 1986 to 2009. How many of the winners were under 40 years old? And make a histogram. So they already give you the intervals. If you had to come up with your own intervals, that's one of the most difficult things to do, and we'll work on that with our project. So they gave you intervals of 10. So if I look at this, they say there's 7 between 20 and 29. We'll check that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 that were between ages 20 and 29. They have 0, 50 to 59. If we look, we can double check that. There are none that are 50 to 59. And then 80 to 89, there's one that's age 80. Now when it has these numbers, not the numbers in between, it includes 20, like 20 to 29 includes 20 all the way through 29. So those numbers count. So if it, like this one, it says 80 to 89. 80 is included in this interval because it starts at 80. So you might look at this and say, this is not 10 numbers. Well, if you start at 20, 20 is the first number, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 is the 10th number. So we have 30 to 39. Let's take a look. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 that are between the ages 30 to 39. And then if we want to go 40 to 49, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 60 to 69, we have 1. And then if you notice, there's 0, 70 to 79. And I circled them just so that I made sure that all of them got accounted for. Sometimes it's hard to check when you have so many numbers to be able to see what you used and what you haven't. So now that we have that, we have our data grouped by intervals. We're going to draw on our graph. So when we put our intervals along the x-axis, remember if we look at a coordinate plane, this is the x-axis, and this is also the horizontal. I think of it as the x, but in the book it says horizontal, so we're going to use horizontal. So we have the horizontal axis, and the scale of frequencies is the vertical. Remember, vertical is straight up and down. Now we're going to graph these. So there is 0 from 50 to 59, so we are going to leave that a gap there because there is 0. And then 60 to 69, there were 1, so I'm going to draw where there's 1, and then 70 to 79, there was 0, and 80 to 89, there was 1. So there's our graph, and I'll shade it in here just a little bit. I'm sure there's an easier way to do that, but so they already did these for you. There's 7, so we went up to 7, and we want to put these again so there's no space in between our bars. There was 10 people from 30 to 39, so we go all the way up to 10. 5 from 40 to 49. 0, so that's why there's a gap there. And then it says the question was, how many were under 40 years old? So we have to look from, again, the first two bars, because it's 30 to 39 and 20 to 29. These are all under the age of 40. And we add 7 plus 10, and we'll get 17. There were 17 winners that were under the age of 40. What I want you to do on Edmodo is to answer the explain at the bottom of page 463 and the explain at the bottom of 464.